All right. So we're going to have, I don't know if you know, we are having problem with the NBN. So it's actually, I'm hotspotting with my phone. I'm going to stop my camera just in case it will affect the streaming, but I am here. I'll go in and out. If you have any questions, just put it on the chat section. I will get to it when the notification comes. If I can answer it quickly, I definitely would. If not, I'll go through your question at the end. All right, so let's begin. Where are we? Where's my? Okay, just want to make sure I have everyone. Okay, okay, perfect. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. So I'm going to talk about today on how to create a winning Facebook ads strategy and Instagram as well. So today this hour, the webinar we're spending together is going to be about strategy and understanding Facebook. So I'm going to answer that question, can I grow my audience without paying for Facebook ads? We're going to go through goals of organic posts and paid posts. Everything you post on Facebook and Instagram, regardless of where you are, you must have a goal behind it as to what you're trying to achieve. I'm going to go getting started with Facebook ads. So it's just an overview of what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about 3 phases of Facebook advertising, which is very, very important. If you don't have a plan or if you don't understand those phases when it comes to any social media advertising, in this particular, we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, you will miss out on the audience, you miss out on sale. I'll go through it anyway. Well, definitely go through it. So quickly, who am I and why you should listen to me? To be honest, you don't have to. But so I built and sold 2 service businesses of my own. I currently own a social media marketing agency. I specialize, myself and my team specialize in helping service businesses with social media marketing and advertising. I'm a digital solution advisor at Business Station, which I'm really, really excited to be here and serve you guys to be here. Serve you all, not guys, because ladies are there as well. My apologies. I've got 20 years experience in entrepreneurship, business, sales, marketing, leadership, and project management. I am a coffee lover. People call it addiction. Apparently it's not good for you, but I'm absolutely fine to have eye twitches, and gin and soda is my favorite drink. So if you're catching up for a drink, that's the one. Some people go as far as saying I'm hilarious, and my mom is one of them, and I think it counts. So let's get social. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's begin. So this is the question I get asked. So this could be your question as well. Can I grow my Facebook audience without paying for ads? The answer, I can't. The answer is yes. You can absolutely do that. You still, however, though, you still have to exchange, increase the volume. So do you have your Corey? Shouldn't it be on your laptop? Or you
can? Yeah, no, I've increased my volume to maximum, and you're still pretty hard to hear.
Okay. Okay. How is everyone else? Can everyone else hear me? Gotta make sure I've got my.
Gillian from Norbeck, yes.
Okay. All right. All right. No worries.
That's better.
Is that better? Okay. No worries. Okay. All right, everybody, let's begin. Okay, so let's get back to the question. This could be your question. Can I grow my audience without paying for Facebook ads? You can absolutely do that. You can absolutely do it. However, you are paying somehow. Number one, Facebook is a pay-to-play platform. You've got to look at it as an advertising platform. You have to somehow pay for what you're doing. You either have to exchange dollars or you have to exchange time. That determines the rate that your followers will grow. So if you're only concentrating on, you only want to do posts, organic posts. By organic, I mean posting on your feed, doing stories, live videos, then the growth is going to be much slower And obviously, it requires a lot of effort. And when I say you can grow it through organically, what I mean is you need to at least post 4 times a week. You need to make sure that you're providing valuable content. You are going live on a consistent basis. Stories are important, so you're constantly posting stories. If you're using Instagram, you have reels going on, so requires some time. You still have to go back and understand it is a platform that it requires you to provide valuable content, and you can absolutely, if you're providing valuable content, you definitely will reach your audience. However, it's going to be much slower. And they were very, very clear this year is if you just click in links. So what Facebook wants is they want people to stay in their platform. They don't want anyone to leave. This year, Zuckerberg, the CEO, came out in January and said, if on an organic post, which is just posting, if you are posting links to send people somewhere else outside of the platform, outside of Facebook, your reach is probably practically going to be none because they don't want you to go anywhere. You can absolutely repurpose that. And if you're doing blog, or repurpose it into posts to keep your audience inside the platform. But it is definitely a pay to play. At the end of the day, to be honest with you, it's not, they didn't become $1 trillion business by providing free platforms. So it is definitely pay to play. However, though, I have to tell you from my experience, there is no one way or another. So I don't necessarily say you only have to concentrate on advertising. They work really well together. In my experience on the advertising that we're doing for my clients, when we have a balance of organic, good quality content posting on their website, on their Facebook pages or on their LinkedIn pages, combined with advertising, they work really, really well. So you can absolutely do that, but you need to start considering advertising. So to be honest, there are two main benefits of Facebook ads. I started my first business back in 2001. How long ago is that? 20 something years ago? Okay, I started when I was 1. So they were so expensive. There was gatekeepers, there were yellow pages, newspapers, which was so hard for us to advertise. If you had money, then you had an opportunity to advertise. The yellow pages, even I remember, if you had to have colors, if you wanted to have blue and red inside your fonts, you had to pay more. So from the benefit to me, from my experience, the 2 benefits of Facebook ads is it is a most powerful targeting and its cost efficiency. When I talk about powerful targeting, before any of these social platforms, it was so hard to target. The reason that, I don't know if you every time someone asks you who's your audience, you say it's either male or female or it's between these ages. This is from an old way of advertising because that's the only way. All we had was publication, and that was the only way for people to. The reason they were asking you because they wanted to know, okay, are they male or are they female? So if there is male, then there is a possibility. These are magazines that we need to we can advertise on. If they're a female, there are these magazines you can advertise on. Then they will ask you what age. So then if it was teenage magazine, they had to go for. So, and it was so hard. It was so hard. You had to be so lucky that in that moment, that person goes through that magazine or newspaper, wants what you're selling. So you have with the platform, with Facebook, I still believe it's got the most powerful targeting option, better than any of the social platforms out there. So what I mean by that is something that I would definitely go this afternoon. I'll go through it this afternoon. What I mean, you can actually target people by their demographic as to where they are, their behaviors, what they do, their location. If you're a local business owner, have they just moved into your local area? Are they live in your local area? Their connection, meaning if they connected with your Facebook page, if they're connected with your Instagram page, you can absolutely do that. The connection being you can reach out to people who are the friend of people who follow you. You might have a product and service that the chances of your followers, your page followers, will followers connection will be interested if you're a florist, beauticians, gym. So most of the businesses you can reach out to the friends of your Facebook followers or Instagram page followers. And life event, for example, if they get engaged, if it's their birthday coming up, something is happening in their life that you can absolutely target. You can get very, very specific when it comes to Facebook advertising. Another one is the cost efficiency. And I think probably one of the most important benefits that Facebook has are cost effective. Again, back to when if I have to compare it to Yellow Pages or even newspapers, and TV was out of question. But when I started my business, there was no way I could advertise on TV. If I had to advertise on TV, it had to be after midnight, and no one was up there to actually see my ad. So it is very important. It is still a cost-effective platform. Facebook ads still have the lowest cost per 1,000 impressions in advertising history. By impression, I mean how many times someone sees your ad. And it's very, very important for someone to see your ad more than once. The reason being, we don't make a decision on when we see the first ad at the first time. Usually we go through the journey. So if you heard about the buyer's journey, this is what it means. Sometimes from Facebook, we give Facebook signals, and they know that it might, in some cases, for some services or for some product, it might take 2 or 3 times for this person to see the ads, to click the button, to register, to buy. So that's what the impression is for. So Facebook ads are still the most efficient. So the WordStream did a study analyzing hundreds of client accounts to calculate the average cost per click. So cost per click, meaning someone sees your ad and click on the button. Cost per action. Cost per action, what I mean by, or cost per conversion, what I mean by they click the button and then they register, they click a button, book it, they click a button, leave their emails to download. So they've done a study, they calculated and analyzed the average cost of those two. And they found out the average across all this. So they've done, I think it was 18 different industries they tested. They found the average across all the business type was $1.72 per click, which is really good. You can have less as well. However, it depends. And $18.68 per conversion. And they compare that with the average cost per conversion on Google advertising, which is $56.11. So I'm not saying Google ads is not, it's not a best way to go. It should be part of your marketing strategy. However, from a cost point of view, Facebook is it's 3 times cheaper. So you have to pay 3 times as much per conversion if you're using Google advertising. So it is still, I believe, it is the cheapest platform to advertise. However, though, if you have advertised before, you might actually say, hang on a second, but I had to pay more. And I had clients who came in and said, oh, I actually had one particular client who came in and they were paying $130 per lead generation, which is ridiculous and is too expensive. So there is a plan, there is a process behind it, there is a strategy behind it. Everyone talks about, this is what I always believe, and that's what I'm passionate about this, is you must be strategic. People talk about, oh, you must be closing the deal. You must be strategic. Everything that you do when it comes to advertising for your business and growing your business. So that said, obviously there's several variables that influence how much running ads on Facebook will cost. So I'm going to tell you some of that from my experience. These are the things that's been the biggest when it comes to your advertising costs being too much. Number one is your lack of strategy and goal. This is so important. If you are using an image or video or a copy that you might be able to use it or be good to use as a brand awareness, and you use that to create ads, then to create leads, that might not work. So if you are, for example, another one, if you are creating an ad and you're going, which I'm going to discuss the 3 phases, why is it important? If you are creating an ad, a lead ad or lead ad or sale ad, let's call it sales ad, to your cold audiences, to the people who don't know you and you're expecting a sale, it doesn't work. I can guarantee you, if you're selling to the cold audiences, if you're selling to people who have no idea what you do and who you are, absolutely 100% does not work on social. And I know it won't work on Facebook and Instagram. So your goals and strategy is very important. Another thing is wrong audience. This is one of the challenges that I've seen a lot of businesses have. When I ask every businesses to be very specific who you serve, there is a misconception that if we're talking about who is your customer persona, who is your customer avatar, we think we only have to have one. This, in some cases and in some businesses, it's just not possible. I call it multi-avatar syndrome. It is just not possible for you to for me to ask you that you only have to have one avatar. But however, though, I will expect you to name them separately, and then we get to know those people separately. And the reason I say wrong audience, because we put the wrong ad or wrong offer or wrong service in front of a wrong audience, because they could be the best audience and they will buy from you. But if you communicate one ad or one single message to the majority or to all, you're not going to get a great deal. You're not going to get a good positive return on your investment. So wrong audience has been the biggest. So what I suggest for you is just spend time to get to know your audience. It doesn't have to be one. If you've got 2 or 3, separate them. Call them. I always recommend give them name, any name. If you're already in business and there are different segment of your business, there's different segment in the audience. You can actually find the ones that you would think, I would love to have more of this person. I would love to have more of, I don't know, Tracy, Bob. I would love to have more of that. So just create that audience and call it Bob. For me, is owner only. So everything we talk about, everything we do in my business, we always say, does Ollie needs this? So it's we're best friend. I don't even know if this person is, but he or she is my best friend. When we don't know, so this is what I talked about, that we'll put the wrong offer in front of a wrong audience. So another thing is your offer is not compelling. What we actually selling, what we actually using, or what we talk about, it doesn't resonate with people, which comes very closely to having a wrong message with the wrong audience. Another thing, ad placement. So when we're creating ads, I've seen a lot of people select as to, okay, I wanted to go here because Facebook will give you option to select your ad placement. Do you want it to go only on Facebook, on Instagram? It is, if you are advanced, maybe the only thing I'll suggest, the only time, and even that, I will always recommend for you to leave it to Facebook to decide. Always select automatic placement, because Facebook knows so much, the algorithm knows so much about the people who actually hang out on there. The only time that you can actually be selective go on automatic or select your own ad placement is if you're going to send traffic to blog posts or somewhere else, not necessarily for the lead. Most of the time, please leave it. Another one is bidding method. We always think, okay, I want to put this much this much cost in here. We go A/B testing. We're going to put this much cost in there. Please leave for Facebook to decide. Let them on the, most of them is auction. And they go with the lowest cost as possible, but don't get involved. I don't recommend for you to get involved unless you're advanced. You've been doing advertising for so long and know this platform inside and out, then maybe you can test it. But even that is going to cost you money. So everything we do, any test we do, we have to put money in it and we have to make sure we test it. So it is just leave it for Facebook to decide. The last but not least, after click process or your sales process. If you don't know because when people come into your funnel or when they ask you a question or they're interested in your products or services, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy. They're in different part of their buying journey. If you don't have any processes in place, if you don't have any nurturing processes in place, you're going to miss out on it. Majority of time, people come and tell me, businesses come and sometimes they come and say, oh, I need to sell, the sale is really low, we're very quiet, I need to do an ads now. I go, that's fantastic, we can definitely help you with that. However, what happens when someone asks you a question? What happens if someone sends you a message? What happens, what's going to happen if they're not ready to buy, but they're answering these questions and they have no idea? They don't, well, maybe they're not ready, or I'll send them to my website. This is the worst thing you're going to do. You need to have a sales process in place. You need to have nurturing processes in place. A lot of businesses miss out on money, they miss out on sale because they think when someone is called, talk to them or make an inquiry for the first time, and if they don't buy, they're not interested. And it's just not true. In some cases, maybe if they're ready, if they're towards the end of their journey, they're ready to buy, it's a different story, but you want to be with them, which I'm going to go through it anyway. Part of this. So from my experience, neither of them work separately. Like you can't just concentrate on Facebook ads and say, I only want to sell. They work well together. So your organic strategy, meaning you're creating valuable content and posting it on your platform, with a good paid strategy, they work really well. We cannot abandon organic strategy. All right. Just quickly, I just want to make sure, because everyone, can you still hear me fine? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Lillian. Thanks, Deborah. Perfect. Thanks, Paul. All right, good. Just want to make sure I'm not going on without everyone asking. All right. So the next, we're going to talk about goals for organic. So every post you do, it has to have a goal. We all know since 2018, the organic reach is down. And to be honest, January, Zuckerberg came out and said, if you're going to send people, if you're going to put a link as a post and try to send people outside as part of your organic, it's just not going to work. Your reach is going to be low. And that's what he's telling us. So what I want you to think about is, okay, so the organic is really low. Okay, so I'm going to give you some, let's talk about, I just got distracted because I want to tell you some figures. So they said in 2018, they changed the algorithm. And they said it's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with advertising. We don't want to make $1 trillion. What we want is, we want to make sure that all the content that's provided on our Facebook page, on our users' feed, are as valuable as valuable as it can be, because our users come to Facebook not to buy. They come to Facebook to hang out with their friends, to catch up what's going on, and to connect with the businesses they love and trust. So at the moment, if anyone, we're moving away from page like, but if anyone liked your page, less than 1% of them will ever come back to see your page. Because if anyone liked your page and do not opt in to follow, they will not get any posts or any notification from you, and they hardly ever come back to look at your page. For the people, so if the people who follow you, meaning they put their hand up and said, I like this business, I like it, and I want to follow it, so I want to hear from it. It's if you are consistently posting, if you have an engagement, less than 2% of people will see it. So that figure alone, it is disheartening. I totally get it. And you're probably thinking, why would I even bother then? So should I even bother? This is the question. Should business owners even forget about organic reach? Should I even just don't worry about it? Wouldn't I be better off focusing on Facebook ads only? Again, I just want to be very clear. No, both of them are important. We cannot. This is a social platform. It is a social selling era. We cannot just use that platform like newspapers or TV that we just pitch all the time. We just have ads in people's faces. We cannot do it. It does not work. So both of them works really, really well together. So when you're posting, your organic posts, all of them have a goal. We can't just post something. We have to think about it. Is the post we're creating the post, we're doing this amazing video or image from Canva, we love what we're doing. So what is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to build awareness for our business? That's what I mean. What I mean when I say, when you're posting, what is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to do a brand awareness as to who you are? Is it supposed to show that your business, there is a face behind this business, there's a person behind this business, there are people behind this business? We want to introduce ourselves as to we're part of the community. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to do brand awareness? Or are we creating these posts? Are we trying to make them consider us? So they already know we're here. I'm going to go through it later on. They already know we're here. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to, are these posts that we're creating, we're trying to help the followers and people who engage with us to consider our products and services, which usually your client testimonials works really well. So the reason we do this, because we want to find out, is it a right content for your audience? One of the biggest challenges that businesses have when it comes to advertising is, the messaging I was telling you, it doesn't work because the good thing about organic, when you're posting organically, you will get an idea of what content resonates better with your audience. Through that, we identify the best performing content. In my experience, when we do this and we identify the best performing content, and we use those best performing content. Excuse me. And we use those best identifying content. We identify and we use those best performing content in our lead generation ads. It works great because we already tested it. We know what works. We know what your audience resonate well with. So that everything you do, it has to have a goal. Then it comes to the ads. So, okay, let's go through this. Another thing is, this could be your question as well. So if it's doing so well, why would I even bother doing an ad? So, so you are already spending time and money, or there could be no money. If you could have a free Canva account. You are still spending time to creating those posts and posting it. So your time is valuable. Important thing is, why wouldn't you want to put it in front of more people? Why wouldn't you want to reach more people to let them know that how much you can make a difference in their life? Your product and your service matters. What you're doing matters. There are people who is waiting, who are the right audience for you. They're waiting to hear from you. So definitely use that platform. Advertising, to me, doing this for 20 years, advertising and marketing, it's non-negotiable. And when I say for the business growth, it's non-negotiable. It has to be part of, not part of operational, but it has to be part of investment that you do in your business. So it is still important to increase your reach, because to build a sustainable business, you need a consistent flow of good leads coming through to your business. So, all right. So when it comes to the goals for the advertising, they always go into three goals, three objectives or three goals, I guess. Awareness, meaning that we're going to connect with new audiences. Consideration, we want to be in front of our customers all the time to make sure that we can get some sort of commitment from them. Asking a question from you, sending you Facebook or messenger message or DM on Instagram, that is a commitment. Don't think it has to be, they have to download something or they have to book something with you. When someone put their hand up and want to ask you a question, that is a commitment. Means they are interested in what you're selling. I just have a question and I need you to answer those questions for me. Or conversion, which is we close it. We either book an appointment with you, book a restaurant, wedding photography, coaching session. That is your conversion. Or if we're going to go through it anyway. So that is, when it comes to the goals, it is important for you to think about, what is this trying to do? Your paid advertising always must have a positive return on your ad spend. What I mean, this is the confusing part sometimes, what I mean by positive return on your ad spend, I don't necessarily mean monetary. I don't necessarily mean they have to buy from you. We put an ad out there that they have to buy. When creating an awareness ad, when we send people to your website or your blog post on your website, we can through the pixels or tag managers, we can actually build up an audience for the website visitors or specific content visitors. That is a positive return on your investment, because we can always nurture them through Facebook advertising, again, for the retargeting, to hopefully make them ready to buy from you. And I always say hopefully, because it all comes down to the customers themselves, if they're ready, because we don't want everyone to be our customers anyway. We've got to be honest. There's no way that our products and services is going to be good for everyone. But however, think about it as to what is the return on my investment? Is it positive? Meaning, am I building data? Am I collecting data from people? Am I collecting data? Am I collecting email addresses? You might not necessarily make money from first time when they give you the email addresses, but that is still a positive return on your investment, on your ad spend. Okay, let's get started with Facebook ads. I am going to go into this program very deep at 10 o'clock. Just quickly, just want to make sure Zoe can send us organized Facebook ad for this afternoon. Okay, so before we do anything, I would like you to get yourself very familiar with Facebook ad policy. It is very, very important for you to definitely get yourself familiar, because first of all, with Facebook, they never come and send you notification. The only time they send you notification if your ad doesn't comply with their policy and they reject it. That's the only time that you know. But it's very important for you to understand what their policy is. This is the platform if you're using to expand and grow and reach your audience. It's good to know. I always recommend for you to follow their policy. We're using their platform. You're building your business on that platform. You're trying to connect with your audience. The last thing you want is for them to kick you out. Another one is installing Facebook Pixel. So it is a piece of code that you can put on the header of your website, or you can actually put it on. You can put it on your landing pages or whatever you do, wherever you have a presence on the web. So that pixel, what it does is just collects information, not necessarily who they are, not necessarily what's their name. All it does is it actually collects information, collects data to see what pages, how many people visited your website, how many people actually landed, if you're doing lead ad, how many people landed on your Facebook lead generation form. When it comes to the Facebook pixel, you should only create one Facebook pixel for one ad account. We only need one Facebook pixel that collects all those data. It's absolutely fine to have that code, one code on your landing page, on your website, wherever you send traffic, because the more data Facebook has, it is a very clever system. The more data it has, the better it is for you when it comes to advertising. This is so important. I always say when you're starting advertising, usually it's a donation period to Facebook. Not that they need it, but it's a donation period. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Facebook ads. So I find that when people go to press that boost button or ad, sometimes they're not thinking about the overall objective and goal of what they're trying to accomplish. So they're putting a post out that might be branding post or brand awareness post, and we expect sales. So I've got to tell you, not all Facebook ads are created equal. This is the confusing part. They're very, very different. When we talk about advertising, they're very different from the TV advertising, from the infomercials that we are used to. They're so different. My biggest tip for you is slow down. We need to have a plan in place. We need to, which I'll go through it this afternoon, actually, step by step. I want you to think about what you want. I know Facebook ads are like this shiny object that people just want to jump into it, because there's a lot of people who say, oh, well, I've built up my business and I made, I don't know, 7-figure business. So I've done this and I've done that. And everybody thinks if I press that publish button ad, that green I think it's still green button, there is like the success is on the other side as soon as I press that publish button. However, I want to caution you that jumping in haphazardly won't always give you the result that you expect. So I want you, the last thing you want is, trust me, I don't want you to have an expensive hobby and give money to Facebook because they've got $1 trillion. They're okay. They don't need a lot of money. They don't need more. I'm sure they're making more. So, but I want you to think about this. So these are the things, the success of your Facebook ad depends on answering this question. What am I trying to achieve? Am I trying to build an awareness? Am I trying to build consideration? Meaning, I'm going to go through it, but meaning that they already know who I am. They already know about my business. They already know about my services that I'm providing. But do I need to help them to make the next decision? What content should I provide? What am I trying to do? Or conversion, am I just going for the sale? Am I going to get email addresses from them? So it's very, very important to have a goal, what we're trying to achieve. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, so coming up, what is my budget to spend on ads? So this is probably been biggest questions that you might have yourself as well. So one of the biggest things that I've seen that people ask is, how much should I be spending? Probably this alone needs about an hour to do it. However, I want you to think about, if you have a business that's operating at the moment, we always have to work backward. We have to find out, okay, I've got to know what my customer comes down to lifetime value, how many times they buy from you and everything else. So you might say, so the question is how much you prepared to pay for the lead when they come in. You might turn around and say, okay, I'm happy to pay about $100 because when I spend all that money on advertising for that person to get that person through, I'm happy to pay $100. And because I'm going to make, in 12 months, I'm going to make this much out of it. It's not a right way of doing it. So this is the return on my investment is going to be that much. It's going to be $1,000. It's going to be $2,000. Or they're going to sign a contract for 5 years, and every year is going to be $10,000 maintenance contract, depending on what you do. This is all depends on what you do in your product. So this is if you're already in the business. So that's easier when you're already in business and you know your numbers. If you are new and you're brand new and you don't have a lot of clients, then there's two ways that you have to pay. Either way we have to pay. We either pay with time or we pay with money. So what I mean by that, if you are starting out and you're time wealthy, meaning you don't have a lot of clients, you're just starting and you have no clients, so you're time wealthy but fun poor, you don't have a lot of money to invest in it, then what I recommend for you to do is spend more time creating content. So that's when everything changes. So you have to use your time to create organic content, to see how it happens. Boosting those content is the cheapest option to actually figure out which one works better, which content doesn't. And then we can use what works to amplify for the lead generation. So this is the hardest part, that some people, sometimes some business owners or startups will go straight into creating ads. You still have to self-liquidate sometimes. And when you're starting, especially when you're starting out, sometimes you have to maybe have a job on the side or somewhere that you can bring in the money to fund your business and self-liquidate. But you can absolutely start with, you just have to put more time into it. Rather than money, but it will work. So you just have to see where you sit in between that. The next one, do I have a rock solid after click process? I cannot. I say that, I talk about this all the time. I can bring so many ads to your business. If you cannot convert it, it's going to be such an expensive exercise. Understanding what your processes are, understanding how you actually convert your lead to the customers. how many times, understanding how many times they ask questions before they buy from you. This is always obviously comes down to your product. Everything, every business have a different strategy depending on what you're selling. If you're selling $20 product, if you're selling $30 product, it's very different if you're selling $1,000 product or $10,000 product. So your journey is going to be longer, but you still need to have that conversion plan, that nurturing, that conversion plan, or I forgot the word. You have to have that sales process in place to convert those people to buy from you, because you got to remember competition is really high, and social media has leveled the playing ground, and everybody, it's not about how much money you have, it's all about how much how strategic you are, what you plan afterward, what happens. So it's very, very, very important. These are the 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself when it comes to Facebook ads. So let's go through the 3 phases. So there are 3 phases when it comes to Facebook advertising: awareness, consideration, and conversion. You might have seen them into the funnel, as in awareness, consideration, and conversion. Let's go through them one by one. So so awareness is a top of the funnel. So they call it top of the funnel. So who are these people? This is the stage that people are completely unfamiliar with your brand or your business, or if you want to go really deep, they're unaware that they have a pain point that needs to be solved. So that, if you go really, really deep, which you can absolutely do that when you're creating an offer or going to advertise to the cold audiences, which we call them cold audiences. The next one, so who are the cold audiences? They're your saved audiences from demographic, their interests, their look, or their lookalike, which lookalike audiences are audiences similar to your website visitors. Video views is another one that came up, your email list. So these are lookalike audiences. These are cold audiences. They don't necessarily know about your business. Next one is the consideration stages. So consideration in particular is the stage where people are either familiar with your product, or they sort of recognize what they need and they're searching for the option. That could be as simple as they just got engaged and they need to organize a function for the engaged part. So that's they're already happening. They're looking for the solution for themselves. So they call them, and they're already familiar with your product. So they are warm audiences, meaning they don't necessarily don't have any idea what's going on. They know what they need, or they know about your business and services you provide. The third one, so warm audiences engage with your Facebook, Instagram, viewed your video, visited your website or your blog post, etc. So these people know about it. The third one is a conversion. This is the third consideration. Conversions are what most of us typically think when we hear the word advertising. So this is the biggest confusion, I believe, when it comes to advertising. When I ask people, when I advise small businesses that consider advertising, the first thing they think about is this stage, meaning selling. But there is the stages when it comes to advertising. It doesn't necessarily means typically sell. There is a stages, there's a buyer's journey that we need to connect with our audiences. So this is, they already decided, this is low-hanging fruit. I don't know if you've heard about that phrase or not. So these are familiar with your brand, your business. They know, excuse me, they know what you're offering, and they're ready to buy. This, it is a very, very tricky stage. If you're only going, especially when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, if you go directly to selling to cold audiences, if you haven't gone through the funnel, it's very hard. Even if you have gone through the funnel, because we got to remember, they don't necessarily mean they've decided to buy from us. So who are these people? They visited your website, they landed on your landing page, they messaged your page, they interacted with your lead form. Something that I will discuss this afternoon about the lead form. They opted into your lead magnet. For example, they're giving you their email addresses. You've already nurturing them. This is already, they already know, they're already ready, and they already know about you. It is very tricky. However, I think it comes down to 3 critical components of it to master this. The quality you're targeting. You need to be absolutely sure that what I'm putting out in front of these audiences They are warm audiences. They are ready to buy. They know who I am. I've already nurtured them. They've already landed on my website. They're ready to buy. So depending on where they are, even in that stage, that you're targeting, the quality of targeting is very important. Your quality of ads is very important, meaning the copy, the copy or the caption or the writing section of your ad actually talking to them. Your images, your video represent them so they can see themselves in it, and the ability to track the right results. There is a bit tricky at the moment with the ISO 14 and some changes that has come up. It is still tricky, but it hasn't affected. The only tricky part is sometimes the results might take a while. Before ISO 15, we usually talked about 3 days. Check your ad in 3 days' time. At the moment, they want you to do it 7 days. Again, that depends on how much money you want to spend on the ad. The more money you put into it, you can get more results and your data better. But because of the ISO 14, it is a bit hard to track. It has not affected the result. It has not affected the fact that people buy. Like, it's not like people are not using it and they're not creating leads. But it is understanding an ability to track the right result and understanding what you need to do, which goes back to your goals. So these are the stages, and I have this sample that will go through it. You are going to get a copy of this. Actually, I'm not showing you the actual document you're going to get. Oh, it's not here. No. Okay, so you are going to get a copy of this, which we put together with regards to what objective. This is only sample, but it's what objective when it comes to the 3 phases. Understanding cold, warm, and hot audiences. When it comes to cold audiences, what objective we go for, audiences we go for, and the content we use. The next one is your warm audiences. Again, when it comes to the warm audiences, what objective, meaning what goals you go for when you go into your ads manager or using Business Suite for the ads, what audiences we go for, and what content. And the same thing with hot audiences. So these audiences, they already know from you. They might have actually bought from you before. And you might have a service that you can sell to them again and again. So it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, so I don't have to go back to them, because I can guarantee there are 3 ways you can actually increase your sales. It's got nothing to do with advertising. This is marketing 101. To bring new clients in, which is the most expensive one. To upsell them when they're already in. There's nothing wrong to providing a better service. And if that client needs something else to go with what they're buying, there's nothing wrong with it. Third one is bringing them back so they can buy again and again. So it is really important. Your hot audiences are your best audiences, because you can convert them easily. The conversion is going to be less. All right, so that's it, my friend. This comes to the end of this webinar. Oops, where are we? Let's go to questions. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, let me just, while we're waiting, let me see if Zoe has sent us any information. Yes, Samantha. I'm just. Hang on, let me see if I can. Ooh. Okay, so let's see. While she's checking that for us, I think we sort of missed, but I'll see what we can do. Okay. What about when you can submit to create multiple versions to test different images, ad copy? Absolutely, you can absolutely do that, Lillian. There is only one thing about, I don't know if you're talking about the new
Hey
video
there, can you
ads.
hear me?
Yes, Lenny.
Yeah, I'm just curious about, you know, like Facebook gives you the opportunity to create sort of multiple versions of your ads, and they kind of switch them around according to their algorithm. And I guess, yeah, perhaps maybe you could just talk to a little bit of that, and maybe there's some tips for that, in like whether you would do some image copy, or whether you just would stick with video, or whether you would offer, I don't know, like free webinars or like educational content, like looking at different versions to test what works, and then going with the one that works, I guess, or if there's any like tips or hints with that stuff.
That's
I know that's a lot.
From my experience, every customer is different. Your audience are very different.
Yeah.
I would 100% recommend video is the best one. It works really, really well. And by video I don't necessarily mean, sometimes, depending on what we're selling, I don't necessarily mean you being on there. Any movement considers video. So you could have stock image in the background or something's happening. My recommendation is you got to test. One of the, Facebook definitely got that button. I can't remember that. There is a button, there's a toggle that you can turn on, and then you can put all of your headings, all of your copies, and all of your images and videos in there. And then based on the user's interaction, they will decide which creative with the copy they're going to put in front of people.
Yeah.
The only concern I have with that is I've tested it. I just don't know which one works best.
Yeah, like same for me.
Yeah.
I've had more success with boosting posts than I have had with allowing the Facebook to choose and select. Like what you were saying before is like I usually just boost posts that have had the most sort of interaction and engagement, and they seem to have more success. Yes.
So what I mean, so the boost absolutely works. There's nothing wrong with the boost. Boost just increases your reach and engagement. They took it away back in 2018. They took the organic reach away, and they gave us a boosted button. So that's the only thing it does. When I talk about Facebook advertising, in the ads section, you can select different creative with different, in the ad section, you can select different creative with different copy. There is so I like to be in control to know which one works better. I still recommend, so boosted post works very, very differently. So when you say it worked and you were happy with it, what was it? What was your outcome?
I've only ever done very minimal Facebook advertising in general, but the results of that was I had more clicks through to the website.
Okay, so what happened then?
Well, I've had a couple of bookings and some engagement, just like a little bit more than usual, but yeah, not heaps. I'm not investing a lot. Like I don't have huge sums to invest with. So there was a little bit of results, probably had one or two bookings and some engagement.
Maybe try having the messenger. So instead of sending them away, maybe get them to have a conversation with you. You might increase if you want to go with a boosted. Like I said, boosted, I would never recommend for sale because it gets optimized. So when we're boosting a button, we tell Facebook we want to boost it. And how the algorithm optimizes it is, okay, so this person, so what it says is, I want you to put this post in front of as many people as you want. So that's what it does. But if you go to the ads manager, or even in the business suite, the ad section, that we want to have lead, we want to have a conversion, and these are the people I want, then we'll tell Facebook, I don't want you to go and put it in front of people, anybody. I want you to put it in front of these people who showed interest in this product, who have this kind of interest, and they have clicked a button to go and made a purchase. Because that's where the impression comes in, because they know how often it will take for you and I to look at something before we click a button. They know too much. But the booster, but with the booster button, I definitely recommend maybe start having a conversation with them through your messenger. There are they're actually, if you're worried about time, there are bots that you can use. I think ManyChat is another one. There is a free version of it. That just in case that you're not available, you can ask them certain questions before it gets to you. But I would like them to, with the boost post, I don't like to send them out much. I want them to stay in the platform because you get more control, and Facebook loves that.
Okay.
But with the lead ad, absolutely, you can spend money. I'm going to go through it this afternoon. I'll go through it to do lead form. I've got 10. Okay, so I'm going to.
Yeah, cool. So I guess you can just do more within the ads portal. There's more options to go way further. Yeah,
absolutely. I always recommend, if you can, stick to. Hello.
That's my little one, Livia. Saying hello to everyone.
Hi, Olivia. So I definitely recommend for you to use Ads Manager. It's very handy to have. I'm just going to quickly see.
I do have Ads Manager. Yeah, I've only used it a handful of times and haven't really had much success in the past. But
okay, so another thing, when you're starting on Facebook ads, I can guarantee you when you're starting out, 80% of the time it's going to fail. But it's not actually failing. The algorithm needs to learn about your business. So it is a learning process. The AI in the background needs to know who interacts with you, who's actually interested. And then based on that, depending on how much money it will take, it takes longer. If it's less money, it will take longer. But it learns. The more you do it, the more the algorithm learns. I call it donation.
Cool, I understand. All right,
that's why. That's why it's not a fail. I guarantee you it's not a fail.
Yeah, awesome. That definitely helps. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Not a problem. Because I've actually had sometimes people come to me and tell me, oh, this agency or this freelancer didn't do anything, it didn't work. And I always say, I think this is the same link. And I always say it's the poor thing actually bought the helped you to buy some. There is a strategy behind it. You need to think about it. We can't just haphazardly advertise on Facebook because you don't really want to, because they've got enough money. We need to slow down and have a strategy before we do anything. But the amount is important, and it will 80% of the time. I always tell my client when we're starting out on advertising, especially if you're just starting out, 80% it's going to fail because it needs to learn. Probably fail is not a right word, but it's a learning process. Thanks. Okay, so let me see. Sorry, Samantha. Ripple makes a movie perfect. Is that absolutely is okay? It's absolutely okay. It is still movement, and movement grabs people's attention. But yeah, absolutely use Ripple. There's a lot of platforms that you can use. Sharon, is it better to use video in ads? Again, definitely yes. Depends on what you actually. It all comes down to your messaging as well, Sharon. It's very important for us for our audience to resonate with that video. It's all good to have a movement, but you always have to you need to know exactly who you're actually targeting. But test both of them. Some people like images better, some people video. Video definitely works better. So this is what Zoe sent me. I don't know if they opened it up. Have a look and see, check out that link. Oh no. Okay. All right. So what I might do, it's still closed. Okay, it doesn't work. All right. So if I don't know how else. What I'm gonna do is let's see if I can. Okay, what? Excuse me. Sorry, my Thanks, Sharon. Sorry. Samantha, yes. So when it's recorded, you will receive a recording next week. So it will get processed, and you will receive the recording, as far as I know. Not a problem. So I'm just trying to see if I can use. Let me see. All right. Oh, perfect. We can register. Perfect. Thanks, Dinya. All right. Bye. Bye. All right. So we got it. You can now. Can you? Okay. So let's do that again. So there's the link. You can absolutely register. We just opened it up. All right, everyone. If you have the link, I just got the meeting in about 2 minutes. Actually, it's 11:09. About 5 minutes. No, it's 11:15. All right. So does everyone have access to the link? That's perfect. All right, everybody. I just want to make sure everyone has access. Yes, perfect. Sabina, that's good. That's good. Thanks. See you in the next one. Bye, Jody. We'll see you soon. Okay, make sure you have your laptop and everything ready, because we can actually go through some ads as well together. All right, see you soon. Make sure everyone have. All right.